Hi, I'm Taylor, and I'll soon be traveling to DC for a work trip. And in this vlog, I want to show you just how unfun work travel can be.
Cut! That's not in the script.
My bad. And in this vlog, I want to show you all that I can see in DC while pretending not to be totally exhausted.
Cut! Taylor, what the
But like seriously, everyone glamorizes work travel and it's always way more work than fun.
Yes, it's a formula that works.
I want to take you on a journey with me from Los Angeles to DC to show you some of the work travel realities. And when I have a few precious moments, I do want to show you some of the DC highlights. So I've done some non-vacation travel before to Armenia, which you can see in my linked vlog somewhere. And one thing that's super important is just to be very clear on costs.
Because we're packing right now. It's the day before my trip, and I had to put a lot of work stuff in this suitcase, which is already super heavy. And the question is, who will pay for the extra fee if it does exceed the 50-pound weight limit? In my case, it's the company, because my bag is like 80% work equipment at this point. But either way, it's just important to be clear about who is paying for what when it comes to travel logistics, including the cost of luggage, transportation to and from the airport, meals at the airport, etc.
So I have a nonstop flight from LAX to Ronald Reagan, and this goes without saying, but make sure to arrive super early because you have no reason to miss your flight from your home airport.
And yes, I know things happen, especially while driving, but
Do it. Leave early, even if the airport is small and boring. It's a nice time to get a coffee and read a book. I recently finished reading Real Americans by Rachel Khong, which I loved.
And I've read a lot of books, and I don't say that often, so I recommend.
So we landed, and it's already night. The flight didn't feel that long. Lost 3 hours. I did nap. Going to the hotel. Yeah.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day. It's a Sunday, and I really want to go out and see stuff, but first I have to do work tasks. So I'm still doing work tasks, a lot of errands today, and right now I'm walking through Lafayette Square, which if you know your DC geography, you will know is right in front of this building here. It's already afternoon, and time flies when there's a lot to do, and there will be more to do this evening, but in the meantime, we are going to go explore. So I've been fortunate enough to do a few work trips thus far, and for me, honestly, this one is one of the best ones because I am in the center of things and can just walk everywhere. Behind me is the National Mall, which is the hub for museums, the free museums, I mean. So have you been to DC? If so, which of the museums at the National Mall would you recommend? Let me know in the comments. And the one I'm going to is the National Gallery of Art.
The National Gallery is similar in content and quality to any major art museum in the US. Firstly, there are a lot of sculptures, as well as European and religious art. If you've visited many big art museums before, the biggest draw for this one would be the building itself, which is big and impressive, and also the fact that it's free. I don't think anything in the museum would blow you away, so to speak. Also, given that there are more unique museums in the area, like the Air and Space Museum, I think if you're tight on time, this may not be the top one to go to. Just my opinion, of course. And we'll go to another museum, no worries.
So luckily I've been to DC before, so I've already been to the National Mall and I've been to a few of the fun museums. But one that I haven't been to yet is the Hirshhorn Museum, which is like 5 minutes away. So that's up next.
The Hirshhorn is a modern and contemporary art museum that is also situated on the National Mall. It's known for its circular architecture and sculpture garden. Admission is free, and it has rotating exhibits, which for my visit meant this interesting collection. Or shall I say this interesting collection? I don't know. Contemporary art always makes me feel weird. But I also heard once that contemporary art is supposed to challenge our ideas and push us toward discomfort, so I guess this is an effective collection. But for real, I enjoyed this museum overall. Would recommend.
Look how good the natural lighting is that makes my front-facing camera look good. Happy about that. It's been a long day and I have a work meeting later. This is my work wig for now.
I also went to Tate earlier. That's my recommendation for the day. Go to Tate. They only exist in the Washington, D.C. area and the Boston area, and I always go, so you should too.
So a pause for reality. Many work trips have you working during work hours, and many DC sites are only open during work hours, which can make it virtually impossible to do a lot of things. And for me, obviously, I got lucky having my first work day on a Sunday. It was a lighter day, but I did work for several hours today. And honestly, this will be the most free time I have for the whole trip. So let's continue.
Oh.
Good morning. Today's gonna be a long day and I'm about to run out for work and I'll be at work all day, but I didn't want to totally just leave. So in the interim, I've prepared some light DC education.
Inspired by Paris and designed by French-American artist-engineer Pierre-Charles L'Enfant, Washington, D.C. is a planned city that blends urban development with green spaces. One neat feature of the design is the organization of streets, where numbered streets run north and south, lettered streets run east and west, and diagonal streets are named after states.
So our big work event was supposed to end at 5 p.m., but we were having a lot of good conversations that we continued it, and then we got out late, of course. Now it's around 5:40. We have a work dinner meeting scheduled for 6:30.
And this is the thing where if you are super introverted, this could be a challenge for you. I am super introverted, but it was one of those days where a lot of the conversation was like, wow, I really genuinely, truly want to hear more. Let's talk. Let's keep talking. Time flew by. Don't know if that'll happen every day, but I got lucky today. And in my very small amount of free time, I'm doing the two things I love doing,
which is just walking, seeing things, and going to Tate, which is where I'm going to pick up my breakfast for tomorrow morning because it'll be another long day that starts early.
Good morning. So today I have another busy day and evening, so this time I'll make a little montage of it.
and now wash my face, go to sleep, wake up, and do it again. But tomorrow will be the last long day, and yes, tomorrow I will show you more stuff because it will be the end of the work day, the end of the work for this trip.
Good morning. Good day.
Good afternoon.
And good evening. And before I leave, I want to see a few things this evening and then a few more things tomorrow before I go.
So first, there's the Thomas Jefferson Memorial from the perspective of the Washington Monument. Then there's the Washington Monument from the perspective of the Lincoln Memorial. Finally, there's the Lincoln Memorial from the perspective of the World War II Memorial.
And in between is the reflecting pool. And yes, I did go over the monuments really quickly, so I'll do it a second time.
The Washington Monument stands 555 feet high and was constructed between 1848 and 1966 because of funding and war and the huge. Then there's the Thomas Jefferson Memorial, which is situated on the shore of the Potomac River, which is pretty out of the way, so if you have a car, maybe it's worth it. If not, probably not. The World War II Memorial is actually super new as it was only established in 2004,
and it replaced the Rainbow Pool. Finally, there's the Lincoln Memorial, which sits at the far
west end of the National Mall. Also, this is where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech, which is really something to appreciate if you get to be in this location in person.
And it's really noisy and crowded, but I'm glad I came. It's stunning in person, and my iPhone camera is not showing you that.
Good morning. I don't have a lot of time left because I fly out this afternoon, but before I go, I do want to show you two special DC sites that might not be on your radar to visit.
And our first stop is the Capitol building, which you can see from a lot of different points in DC because it's big and actually on a hill, but we'll take a tour inside.
Or so she thought.
Also, just a quick tip, this is a really big building and it's kind of hard to find the entrance, but the visitor center is below, so I'm in the elevator, which is not closing. Also, I made a mistake, or they made a mistake. Who's the a-hole? Let me know. So I arrived somewhat early for my tour because that's just good tour etiquette. But then I get there and the line looks like this, and I probably should have arrived 45 minutes to an hour early. Now, they did let me go to another tour, but I just didn't have time to take it. And I feel like you really should put the absurd wait times somewhere on the website pretty big because I can mess with a lot of people's schedules and they're the a-hole. Also, if you want to see the inside of the Capitol building, you do have to book a tour. It is free, and the main sites that you would see on this tour are the Rotunda, National Statuary Hall, and the Crypt. So be sure to book online in advance or just show up because it doesn't matter and you'll just have to wait.
Given the opportunity, I would have done today totally differently. I would have got up really early and came when the building first opened because I was under the impression that you needed a ticket to have a tour. But then when I got in, I see that there are opportunities for guests without reservations to line up for a tour. So I think it would have been really easy to do that and probably less busy if I had come when it opened at 8:30. Regardless, I don't have that much time left, and the next stop is one I'm super interested in, and this one might not be on your radar.
Hey, so before we see our last site, I just wanted to pop in and share a few more work travel tips as well as a few more DC recommendations. Inquire, very politely and early on about potentially adjusting your travel schedule. For example, like arriving early or leaving slightly later. And I've done this usually from an admin perspective. It's fine as long as costs are the same. If they're not, you might be able to pay extra, and it would just be a little more extra rather than an additional trip.
And if you find yourself lacking free time, you can always stay up late, get up early, and see some monuments because, at least from afar, they don't close.
Or rest and sleep so you don't your mind, body, or soul.
And if you're fortunate enough to be able to push back your return travel, consider inquiring about the possibility to have a late checkout.
Hi, so I check out tomorrow and I'm just inquiring about the possibility of late checkout.
What time were you thinking?
Until 12:45.
That's fine.
Okay, excellent, thank you. And I'm room
So I got lucky, but I usually don't. Most of the time, I end up asking the hotel staff if they're able to hold my suitcases until I have to leave for my flight, which they usually are able to, even at hostels, but check, because smaller hotels just don't have the capacity to do so. Maybe visit Tate, which is a bakery and cafe, and I love it. It does French, Israeli-styled food, infusion-styled food, and my favorite is the Tate muesli bowl, which I bought multiple times on this trip, and
this is the 4th Tate location I've been to on this trip, which for me is an accomplishment.
Finally and importantly, have reasonable expectations.
I've met so many people who get so upset because work just takes longer than anticipated and they didn't get to do all the things that they planned. I am a planner. I understand.
And our final stop is the National Building Museum, which is right there.
Created in 1980 through an act of Congress, the National Building Museum is a museum all about architecture, engineering, design, and planning. The museum resides in the Pension Building, which features 8 majestic Corinthian columns.
So I just want to preface to say that this is what the building looked like online, and this is what the building looks like on this particular day in June. A lot of construction and setting up, and it's kind of blocking the beautiful view.
I didn't come to the museum on the best day, but I will say it's not all bad, especially if you're really into architecture and civil engineering. There did seem to be a lot of exhibits that were especially geared towards kids, so maybe this is a good
museum for the family. Also, it's away from the National Mall, so maybe it's a good museum if you want something that's not super crowded all of the time. All that being said, I will say it wasn't really my thing, but cool to see either way.
Work travel always leaves me feeling more exhausted, especially with the jet lag. But at the end of a very long day, somehow I'm also always feeling more fulfilled.
And don't forget, you need the money. Yes, I need the money, but doesn't everyone? And if you're like me and you really like your work and you love to travel, then work travel is indeed a beautiful compromise. Or is it actually the worst of both worlds? Let me know about your work travel impressions, experiences, and questions in the comments. Finally, and I really want to emphasize this point, your support means so much to me. I want to keep making vlogging content, and your support can help me do that. So I would love it if you can leave likes, comments, and click the subscribe button. And as always, thanks for joining.